Barras opens and I 3-bet, I think. I'm playing tighter than I thought. Hey,
Hello.
what's up?
Hello,
What's up,
Fedor.
Fedor? Hello.
Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you here. You don't see the chat, but the chat is like on fire.
Going crazy.
Yeah, exactly, because you are here. We were saying before you came here that maybe you are the most inspirational guy for us. It's not a very long career, but with insane success. And yeah, and I was saying that I'm proud to start the success losing to you the WCOOP main. What about go to the action?
Let's jump to the action. Yeah. Let's go back in time 7 years ago.
Man, this is so crazy. Like, I actually did not rewatch it again. So the last time I looked at this was maybe like 2 years ago. So
yeah, I don't remember when was the last time.
Man, there could be some crazy hands here. Wow, I'm folding this.
Let's see, what did you fold? Yeah, 10
Wow.
You folded maybe because I don't know, Dam was in the button. I don't know what's the reason you folded, but
I'm much tighter than I thought.
Maybe we're going to see our first hand.
Come on, Yuri, you can do it.
Come on. Yeah.
I should 3-bet.
Putting pressure.
Let's see the c-bet sizing or check. I checked.
Interesting.
Yeah, like at that time we didn't know about the
bet range on this flop with some amount of range advantage, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so crazy how much range advantage you have here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Fedor defending with this stack he's definitely being crushed on this board.
I'm curious if I check fold on a turn, which I should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I do.
Interesting.
You didn't. Like at that time, if we think about the c-betting size strategies, I was probably using bigger c-bet sizings. So I don't think like check ace-3 on the flop is so bad if I use, let's say, half pot c-bet size strategy, because it's of course the worst ace I have. So thinking about that, I would probably check again on the turn if I use this kind of strategy, just because it would be the only ace I would let in my double check range, like the worst ace I have. But of course, I think we just have to see bet small on the flop.
I think I made a mistake. Like I also maybe like check call turn. I think it's just bad. It's just burning a couple %.
Yeah.
I think these were also spots back then where I was really printing. Like identifying these spots where, the 9-7 suited, just understanding where, players were not reaching the frequencies, like he just didn't 4-bet jam enough. He didn't call enough. So it was just too high, 3-bet, too high raise fold. And I just take anything that could, somehow be fine to 3-bet. But 3-bet sizings made total sense, right? Like people just folded too much. So Barras opens and I 3-bet, I think. I'm playing tighter than I thought. I can imagine that the money was maybe a bit bigger of the thing. Because I think if this would be, a Sunday 500 final table, I think I would have played slightly looser. Where there was like 2 spots so far where I thought, I could see myself go a bit more out of line there.
Yeah, maybe against Faraz that that would fight like you. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to fight like a lot, to play a lot of pots against him. Maybe you were thinking something like this.
But I also like educating people. Even if they fight back, like if they see that you get, like if there's someone else fighting, like it's good that he will open a bit less. He won't 4-bet like all the time. So it's good to also poke people who shouldn't, and not just let the person, like who, I mean, he certainly shouldn't, he shouldn't
impose their game, right?
Yeah. So educating people not do that stuff is also quite valuable for the longer game.
It's a very good tip for all of you guys.
Yeah, because your cost is not so high. If I lose like 6 big blinds, it's not so. If even if it happens 2 or 3 times, it's not so bad. But
but the future game, the pre-flop
Exactly.
future game, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so important, right? Because the EV that you gain in Faras Jaka not open so much, Faras Jaka not fighting back so much, it's so massive. You can count that, right?
Yeah, and also you have to see it's not him against me. That's the important part. It's not him against me. It's the others making a mistake, and we fight for the cake. It's like someone else is bringing you a cake, and now it's about who gets it. Will he get the entire cake, or will we split it half, or will I get 3/4 of the cake? The others VPIP not enough. The others are losing EV with every hand. And now he takes more of that cake by opening more and like by trying to steal more pots. And so now it's about like me telling him like, no, it's not your cake, it's mine. So I think it's important that it's not only him against me, but that we're fighting for the value the others are giving up.
That's an amazing explanation in how the pre-floor and final table works.
Yeah, he opened like 2.5x c-bet. This board I folded my queen high with nine of diamonds.
But it's so interesting the Fedor explanation about final tables and dynamics, because I really believe that the best players that I know in terms of final table are this type of guys like Fedor, understanding the dynamics, understanding how things work, especially in pre-flop, because we know that pre-flop is pretty much 60%, 70%
more, I think.
Even more. Yeah. So dynamics really matters. That's a fact, right? So
very good explanation.
Also maybe sharing how I think about these spots. So I think what's very important with final tables is to kind of keep a flexible mind, because a lot of people hear something somewhere and then they adopt this simple thinking of, let's even say ICM, right? Like ICM is the biggest mistake of final table play ever, So I want to share a bit about this, because a lot of people have studied with HRC and talk about ICM, and then they put these ranges in. It's like, no, you have to play like this or have to play like this, and I'm really even on highest level, when I talk to my like study partners and so on, like I'm still so confused by how many people think ICM is final or correct. So I want to share, like ICM is not correct. So it's just a simplified mathematical model to distribute value to something that is impossible to calculate, or currently impossible to calculate. Because if you solve poker like a solver in one single situation, a final table will be the same, but you will need to solve every hand following with every potential other hand, because the chips are changing, that leads to each potential placement of players, right? So if we play 3-handed with payouts, you cannot calculate the EV of one play. You need to calculate the EV of each play that can happen afterwards, because your chip stack changes. You maybe lose 2 big blinds, then you play again. So the calculation of the perfect strategical play in chip EV is we just look at one hand, because one hand is decoupled from the other hand. But with payouts, you need to calculate an average of like 30, 40 hands following after each other. So we know how much effort it takes to solve one hand. So now you can think about how difficult it is to solve for all potential hands that can come after each other. So what they thought about is just a simple model to give you lottery tickets. So it's like ICM is just you look at you look at the chip distribution, and you get as many lottery tickets as you have chips. So if we three play a 3-handed, then let's say Yuri is chip leader and has 50 chips, and I'm second and have 30 chips, and Gustavo, you have 20 chips. So now ICM is Yuri gets 50 lottery tickets, I get 30 lottery tickets, and you get 20 lottery tickets. And now there's prices, and let's say first prize is $1,000, okay, and second prize is $500. And now what happens is you go into the hat and you draw the ticket. So there's 50 Yuri tickets, 30 Fedor tickets, and 20 Gustavo tickets. And it's for first place now. And so if we draw in the head, Yuri gets 50% of the time, he gets first place. Yeah. And 30% of the time, I get first place. And 20% of the time, you get first place. But the thing with ICM, which is different to Chip Chop, is that now we continue drawing. So if I get drawn 30% of the time, then all my tickets go out, and it's only Yuri tickets and Gustavo tickets left. And so now for the second place, it's 50 out of 70 tickets are Yuri. So 70% of the time, he gets second place. So that, and then you add up the monetary value. That's how ICM works. But poker is so much more complicated, because it's not always just pure all-in. You can lose 2 big blinds. You can win 5 big blinds. Your chip stacks can change. Equity is a thing. There's position. So people look at ICM and they think, it's the solution to payouts, but it's just a really, really simplified way to look at payout structure, and like a lottery model for a much more complicated game than like as we know as poker. And so the problem is sometimes ICM is really close to the perfect solution, and sometimes it's really far away. And why I want to share this is because maybe for people now who play poker and study in your community, you need to get sharp and understanding at this is only a model, it's only an idea, and to understand where it makes sense to apply and understand where it doesn't make sense. Because if you play 100 big blinds deep final table poker, ICM is fucking terrible. It has nothing to do. It's because you play 20 big blinds pot, 10 big blinds pot. It's not drawing a ticket out of a lottery, but no, it's like equity realization. You need to understand the equilibrium of what to play and how to construct your range. So in this scenario here, people were making crazy mistakes, people were like absolutely not understanding, like they were literally just playing a passive tight approach and waiting till people got coolered. So that's what I want to share around ICM.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's so good.
Fedor Holz. It was so good. Amazing explanation. Amazing.